You may be wondering how to answer authors' claims questions. In this video, I will work through an example question using the 4-step reading strategy. Angela here from Custom Classroom, helping make test prep simple. Let's quickly review what is the author's claim. Well, it's basically the main statement or point made by the author. Usually they are trying to prove this point or convince the reader to believe the same thing. To work through the claim questions, I will use my 4-step reading strategy. I've also made another video specifically about this strategy if you are interested. It is 1 scan, 2 target text, 3 actively read, and 4 respond. Now let's work through a few claim questions. Step 1, scan the questions. Is it a whole question requiring information throughout the entire passage, or is it a part question where students will need to return to only one section of the test? Now let's look at the first question. What is the author's main claim in the passage? Well, claim is a whole question. All right, let's look at the next question. How does the author organize the information in the passage? Well, organization is also going to be a whole question. Now let's look at the third question. What text evidence supports the author's claim? Well, here, this is going to be a part question since we're going to go specifically back and look for pieces in the text, but it also ties directly to question number 1. So these are going to need to be answered together since they are directly connected. So step 2, we are going to target the text, which is to read through the text carefully. The average professional basketball player in the NBA makes around $5.15 million a year, while the average professional baseball player in the MLB makes about $3.2 million a year. Is this an excessive amount for anyone to make, no matter his or her profession? The highest paid doctor will average a little over $500,000 a year, and the median household only makes an average of $54,000 a year. A Major League Baseball player will make more swinging a bat in one game than an average family will see in one decade. How is it that a grown man can get paid so much for doing something that toddlers do for fun? So here we can see that this is a nonfiction argumentative essay. So for step 3, actively read, I would have students go back and reread and think about who, what, when, where, and why. Now we will look at who, which is professional athletes. What is this topic of them possibly being overpaid? When is this happening? Well, it's happening now in present times. Where is this happening? Well, that doesn't really apply in this specific passage. Why? The author is really trying to persuade us to connect with her opinion. Step 4, we're going to respond to questions. So let's start with question number 1 since it's a whole question. What is the author's main claim in the passage? Let's look at A. Professional athletes make a lot more money compared to other professions. So this is a statement that the author made in the passage. That 3.2 million is a lot more than doctors, which is 500,000. But I'm not sure that this is really the main point the author is trying to get across. So let's keep going and look at B. Professional athletes make more money than their profession warrants. While I feel like this is a little bit better statement because it addresses a bigger point that the author is trying to communicate, especially if you look at this final sentence here where she says, how is it that a grown man can get paid so much for doing something that toddlers do for fun? Okay, let's look at C. Professional athletes should not make more money than doctors. Well, this statement is not true. It's also not a point that the author is trying to push. We can infer that doctors are extremely important and should make a lot of money, but the author does not come out and say this at any point in the essay. All right, let's look at D. Professional athletes get to make money doing something that is fun. Now, this is also incorrect. Yes, the author says that toddlers have fun swinging a bat, but they never talk about this as a profession for athletes, that it is a fun job. All right, so let's look back at A and B. Professional athletes make a lot more money compared to other professions, and professional athletes make more money than their profession warrants. So at the root here, both of these answer choices are saying kind of the same thing, that professional athletes make more money. Okay, that is true. But answer choice B really goes a little bit deeper and is better because it takes this statement one step further and says that it's more than just making more. It's that it's not warranted, which means it's not necessarily justified. That they're making more money than compares to maybe how they help others. Um, so to really justify this answer choice B with text evidence, I'm going to jump down to question 3, since it directly asks what text evidence supports the author's claim. So here we can see that throughout the whole text, there is support toward this claim. So it starts with listing out high amounts like $5 and $3 million a year. She also directly states, is this excessive amount for anyone to make, no matter his or her profession? She then comes back and compares that to a doctor at 500,000 and the average person at 54,000. Then talks about making more swinging a bat than a single family in 1 decade, and how is it that a grown man can get paid so much for doing something that toddlers do for fun? So all of this kind of leads toward this claim of, is it justifiable to be paid so much money? And so here's a possible response that students might write. The author supports her claim by first comparing different salaries to prove that professional athletes make more money. Then she says, is this amount excessive? And baseball players make more swinging a bat than an average family will see in 1 decade. These statements support her claim that these large salaries might not be justified. So now let's come back to the questions and look at our final question, question 2. How does the author organize the information in the passage? So A states that by comparing different salaries. Well, this sounds pretty good because a large part of this author making her point is reliant on comparing how much higher the professional athletes get paid compared to doctors and, say, the average person. Answer choice B, by describing what athletes make. Okay, this is not correct. She does tell what athletes make, but she doesn't just talk about athletes. She also discusses other professions, so this is not correct. C, by providing examples of salaries. Well, this is partially correct. She does provide examples of salaries, but that's not really how she's organizing the passage. She's really using these examples to compare and make her point and justify her claim. But I can see why students may be tricked by this answer because it's partially correct. D, by explaining the increase in salaries. Well, this is just plain incorrect. There is really no mention about increasing salaries, just that some are higher. On a side note here, I do want to share that this is not my opinion on this topic, but simply one person's thought on this subject. You may feel very strongly for or against this author's claim, but the important thing is to remain objective. When you are answering an author's claim question, since the answer may or may not reflect your opinion, the question is simply asking if you can read and find their claim. It's not asking whether the claim is true or correct or not. So it's really important that you don't let your strong opinions sway your ability to find the best answer for the text that is presented. If you are looking for more author's claim practice for your students, check out one of my best-selling task card sets on Teachers Pay Teachers. I just used one of the cards from this set in the video. I hope you found this video helpful. Check out my playlist to learn more about answering reading skills questions.